Ladies and gentlemen, straight from the studio in quarantine, we are back. This is the latest episode of Don't At Me with Michael and Alex. And today, back in studio. Oh, wait, we're back in the quarantine studio. We're still joined by the Swiss Army knife who's made his way around all of our shows from Get It Right to Courtside Radio. We are joined by the one, the only Antonio Williams. Welcome to the show, Antonio.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys having me again. Means a lot to me that you all to share your platform with me. I'm enjoying it. The fellowship is awesome. Appreciate you guys.
100%. And it's nice to know Michael's willing to share the limelight for once. You know, he's always like on camera, always like, oh yeah, you know, we out here.
I deserve it. I deserve the limelight. It belongs to me.
We out here
to share this.
Right. That's what point guards do.
Can someone key the bruh button? Like, bruh.
He understands the point guard is the quarterback of every team, and I'm making sure that I give my quarterback shine.
Yeah, but white chocolate knows how it goes, bro, and that's me. So, without further ado, we're going to get started today. Right. Antonio, we've seen the protests going around across the nation, and we've already discussed what's gone on in LA numerous times. Michael and I were on the front lines of it on Saturday. He stayed and actually was on the true front lines of it later that night. Unfortunately, I was passed out due to an all-nighter, and also hanging out with Good News Radio's founder, Keith, is always a fun time. I left, and I went straight to sleep after hanging with him. Shout out to Keith. And so we want to know, what's going on and what's it like for you right now in Dallas?
So in Dallas, it's kind of similar to what you're seeing around the nation, where you have a few people that are taking advantage of these unfortunate times and situations that we're in now, and they are making it a time where they can enjoy and realize some personal benefit, and that's oftentimes at the expense of others. But the vast majority of people are practicing civil disobedience and protesting peacefully and making their voices heard. And, you know, not only about this unfortunate incident that we had in Minnesota, but also making sure that all of the other unfortunate incidents that we see and continue to see, whether they are sort of visceral or they are intentional, you can't see them. People are voicing their displeasure about those. And so for the most part, people being very peaceful and cooperating and understanding and exercising, making sure that they see the humanity in everybody as they are also voicing their displeasures of everything that's going on.
No, yeah, and I just believe that it's this dude Hines. Take that out of your background.
This Curb Your Enthusiasm, man.
I thought it'd be a Boston background, man.
Man, oh yeah, he's sick. But yeah, so Antonio, I want to talk more about it because it's so much going on, and with us being Black men, it's very impactful to us in our lives and the lives of our future. But I want people to kind of know your background, like when it comes to sports and everything, because, you know, Don't At Me, we are a sports show, but we're also lifestyle, and we do all of that. So I want to make sure people get the sports aspect from you. So can you let the people know, like, your connection to the sports world?
Sure. And again, appreciate you, Michael. That's PG setting it up. That's what you do. One point guard to another one.
Yeah, damn, bro. That's why I score. He might drop dimes. I drop points. Come on, bro.
See, that's what we're talking about. People overpaying for points. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Shout out to James Harden.
I say no names. So, my people, again, if they want to see some of the content that I'm doing around sports, you can find me on LinkedIn, where Haim saw a lot of the things that I've been fortunate enough to accomplish, and Antonio Williams, but also too, my social handles are A.Williams Basketball, and it's spelled exactly how it sounds, so nothing creative there. A.Williams Basketball, and that sort of kind of outlines some of my using the platform to really talk about some of the current events, and also using those current events to give some of my personal spin that comes from not only my perspective as a player myself, but also working in the league office, in the NBA league office, working in baseball operations for the Boston Red Sox, and was fortunate enough to win a title in 04.
Wait a sec. Wait.
We got that ring, baby. Get that shine. What it do?
No, yeah, you got the ring. I like it.
Hey, Antonio.
What it do?
Antonio.
So,
my last visit to Fenway was 07 with my mom. I got my cap from Fenway.
there it is. There it is. That's what I'm talking about.
And shout out to my Aunt Diane. She always makes it out for Bruce Springsteen's performance at Fenway every year. I swear to God, this woman's been to his concert, I think, 17, 18 years in a row. Been talking about it. She's so down. Aunt Diane, don't worry. Bruce will be back next year, and so will the Sox.
Maybe all I'm going to say, Himes, is go Yankees, and I'm not even.
All right, bro. No. We're already in enough pain.
Antonio,
right? We gave up Mookie Betts for basic. There we go, baby. Okay. Let's go.
04.
So then you also did some work with the Phoenix Suns?
Yes. I worked in scouting for the Phoenix Suns. Was there for 4 years. Great experience. Learned a lot about myself as a talent evaluator. Learned a lot about myself, about the ins and outs of working for an NBA team. A lot of parallels between working for a baseball team in scouting. Yeah. Then there are a lot of things that are different.
Like recording on a video camera.
Go ahead, Himes. What'd you say?
Like recording on a video camera, right? Of pitches and signs and also play.
Hey, I wasn't part of that. I was long in the NBA.
Yeah, that was back then.
So you did scouting with the Suns. All right. When I say the top 3 people that you scouted personally, the first 3 names, who were they?
For the Suns or for any team?
For the Suns.
Yeah, let's go with the Suns.
Because when you're working in scouting, the thing is, when you're going out there, you go out and you're evaluating everybody.
Yeah,
true.
Because once you, especially if, say, all the years I was there, we were in the lottery because we were trying to build through the draft. So with that being said, we're scouting all of the top prospects without any real idea of where exactly we'll be selecting. So you have to sort of scout everybody. And so for me, some of the best workouts I saw was, and a lot of people have talked about this one recently, was I saw Jason Tatum's sort of private workout that we had with him, and it was an incredible workout.
Wait, you saw Tatum's workout?
Yes, I was there.
And you saw that post that he made where he said he originally wanted to go to Phoenix. He didn't want to go to Boston due to the playing time and being unsure.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted him. and I can tell you this as well from my Southern California roots in Oxnard in LA, and then being born in St. Louis. I know Justin, I know his dad very well. And so with that sort of inherent advantage of when I was working in sports marketing at Nike, I was able to evaluate Jason quite a bit, get to know Justin. So I went into my job with the Suns with sort of more of that background knowledge because of my time at Nike. And so I really loved him as a player. And of course, I was watching his evolution as a player as well. So I wanted him. We just weren't in a position to draft him because we ended up finishing 4th that year. And we knew that we would have to get it somewhere in the top 3 to get him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the only way that we could ensure that we could get him is we had to get to 1.
Yeah.
So, and that, as you know, and people look at it, oftentimes, you guys know this because you guys know this business intimately, but for the layman's fan in sports, they look and they're like, oh, you guys are at 4, you can easily move up to 1. What you have to give up.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
Right? To get to that point, or to go from 4 to 3, what you have to give up. And then also too, even if you're willing to give it up, oftentimes, there's gamesmanship that goes on in the NBA. Sure. So even if you're willing to pay that price, sometimes the teams that are above you, they not only know that you're willing to move up, they know what you want to move up for.
Yep.
So with that being said, sometimes they're not willing to dance with you, right? So the pretty, that pretty girl, because it's guys here, I'm just using girls, that pretty girl, you looking at her, it's not enough for her to think that you're cute as well, right? She's got to be willing to move. right? And if you know, if there's peer pressure there, if her friends are like, you know, hey, I know you think he's attractive, but we don't have dance partners either. So that forces her to stand pat. So you have to, so not only do you have to have enough to warrant a move, you also have to make sure that that dance partner is willing to dance with you as well. And so there are a lot of intricacies that go into it.
I got to ask you about that too. Michael, I'm sure you're thinking the same question, or at least when I say it, you're going to say the same thing.
Let me hear it.
Were you at the scouting for Dragon Bender?
I was there. I was there. And I was there. And one of the things when you talk about Dragon Bender, and one of the things that you really look at that I think oftentimes, and this is something that we need to deep dive on and get into youth basketball.
Yeah.
The vast majority of players that don't make it in the NBA, it's a small percentage of them that don't make it because they're just flat out not good enough to play in the league.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a small percentage of players that it doesn't matter who their teammates are, they're going to be transcendent players.
Yeah.
So LeBron can be out there with us, and LeBron is going to be LeBron.
Man, I'll be dropping 30 points a game with LeBron.
Right. Exactly. Hey, he made Booby Gibson get big money from Toronto. LeBron gets guys paid, right? So there are players that no matter who's out there with them, no matter the situation, no matter the system, etc., they are going to be transcendent players. And those are the real transcendent players in the NBA. And there are maybe about 5 of them. Right?
Yeah, true.
Not paid like transcendent players,
but
really needle movers. They're like 5 of them. So the reality is, and this is why I was saying we have to deep dive into youth basketball for this. The reality is most players make it because of their situation. Who are their teammates? What's the system that they run?
Coaching.
What's the organization like, etc. That's why they make it. So when you look at that, and when you talk about those situations, you have to be vigilant about making sure, especially as you're drafting young players that are not fully developed from a maturity standpoint.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you invest in all of the other aspects and address them globally, and make sure you address them in all other aspects if you want to get to the sweet part of their production from a basketball standpoint.
And I think that's key because a lot of people overlook just building that right team around that person when it comes to the people that deal with them daily. So, man, with everything that we're dealing with, Antonio Himes, my question is, what do you think the impact of major sports returning will do to, the country, with all of the craziness going on? Himes, what do you feel?
I think you're going to see players utilizing that platform. I think you're going to see a rise in players who start utilizing that platform, that block on Sunday for football, that time when you're playing baseball, all 9 innings, to utilize that platform to stand up for what they believe. We saw Kaepernick do it years ago. He got blackballed by the NFL. True. What are they going to do when guys who have bigger platforms as well, the Tom Brady's of the world, the Dak Prescott's, they take knees in unison on Sunday to do the same thing that Kaepernick did? Do you think that they're going to blackball those guys? Not at all. And I'll say it first and foremost and be the first to say it. If Tom Brady takes a knee, they won't blackball him, because one big point that we all need to just call it like we see it. It's black and white, and he's white. They're not going to blackball him. They're not going to do what they did to him. They're not going to do that.
Athletes. We need those white athletes to come out. And just when it comes to the athletes, period, a lot of them are doing a great job because they're tweeting about it.
But that's not enough.
That's not enough.
It's not enough. You got to be able and willing to put your money where your mouth is and actually step up for what you think is right. If you are Mark Cuban, or you are Joe Biden, or you are Tom Brady, or you are Carson Wentz, and you have that platform, the money to be able to do it, Put your money where your mouth is. Step up. Use that platform for what's right and actually donate money to Black-owned businesses that are getting affected by this. Donate money to the causes such as Black Lives Matter. Actually do what's right and step up, as opposed to sitting behind a screen like we all have done before and typing a couple words thinking that your message on Twitter is going to make that much of a difference just because 20 people reshare it.
Just being out there. I'm a huge Celtic hater, but I got to show love to Jaylen Brown. He drove like 15, 18 hours to Georgia to take Atlanta to take part in the protest. And that's what we need. Like, in today's world, we don't have Martin Luther Kings. We don't have Malcolm X's and those guys. So we need our athletes and entertainers who has that voice, that power, money, and respect to really step out and do more. And I just think major sports returning, like you said, Himes, I think was perfect, that they can use that platform to really show that, hey, we are in for the cause. We are in for the fight to the end. I hope you guys enjoy us at home while you're being able to watch sports again. But we are down for the cause, and we're going to use our platform to do so. What do you feel about it, Antonio?
I agree with you guys. I think it's the same thing. I think, there's a couple things I'd like to say. One, with sports returning, we need those players to utilize their platforms, because going through this pandemic and this unique time in history that we're going through, it would be very easy for the return of sports to come and sort of overpower and overshadow the things that we have going on right now. True. Because this isn't a typical time. So we need, in order to keep the momentum going, we need these players to continue to utilize their platforms. And one of the things the other thing I like to say as well is, now that it's been, and I don't mean this to minimize what happened to George Floyd or anyone else that's been affected by this. We've all been impacted by this.
Yes.
But now, with what's happened with the civil unrest that we're seeing and the unfortunate incident with George Floyd, now speaking out has been legitimized.
Yes.
So now it's become the norm to speak out. So what I would like to see is, now that it's become legitimized to speak out, and when you're talking about these major corporations and all these places where these athletes have this major influence, and these corporations are leveraging the talents of these athletes to sell their products. I would like to see these companies now, since it's been legitimized, continue, as Haim said, to put your money and your actions with your tweets that you've been putting out. True. Because now you don't have to hide. You shouldn't have to worry about offending someone or losing dollars because you're taking a side or taking a stand.
And so that's what I think. I think that's major, Michael, because people can't fear that of loss. If you're a great talent, they're going to take care of their great talents, and they're going to, they're going to get behind you. And I think that these players can't have that fear.
It's that Kaepernick quote: "Stand for something, even if it means sacrificing everything."
Yeah, and it just sucks for Kaepernick's standpoint that he kind of wasn't playing up to par, so they kind of use that as well to be another thing to push him out. But for these guys at the top of their games, like I saw Pat Mahomes tweeted something out, but I'm hoping, as a Chief fan, that he would do more. And I see these different guys tweeting things out, but I want them to do more. And I'm hoping with major sports returning that they will actually come out, step up, and be a bigger presence in this, because, you
have such a platform. Like, look at Nike, right? And look at Nike, Netflix, all these companies. I love what Nike did by making that ad that said, "Don't do it." That was a statement piece. That was a true statement and a testament to what they're doing. But let's call it like it is. We talk about Nike. The predominant athletes that they have are African-American, are black. So in essence, they're doing it to protect their bottom dollar. If they really want to do something further, put your money where your mouth is. Donate money to these causes. Actively be a part of what's going on. It's as simple as that. Netflix tweeting out that they support Black Lives Matter, that they don't want this, that they're also, and forgive me, I'm paraphrasing because I'm trying to remember it offhand, that they're also standing behind their creatives, their X, Y, and Zs, right? The same thing with Disney. That's nice. I love that they're stepping out and they're actually doing that. But it takes all of 3 minutes to make a black poster with white lettering on it saying what it is. It takes all of 30, 40 minutes for guys at Nike, because they have the team to do so, to put together a video like that, where it's lettering and very few images as well as a message with music behind it.
Right.
It takes minimal time and effort to do so. What takes effort is actually being present and actually taking a role in this movement. And that's what we need.
What I would say, Himes, is we don't need words, we need work. And that's what
exactly right.
We need to put in forth the work so that it can actually happen. So my next question, before we get up out of here, with this great show of Don't At Me, man, very political, our last few episodes.
Oh, wait, Michael.
We have to make sure we get the word out.
Michael.
What's up?
You're listening to Don't At Me with Michael and Alex right now. We're tuned in. Tap in. Please like, comment, subscribe on YouTube at Alex Himes, ALEXHYMES. Check us out on social media at HimesLA and at Michael the PG. And also, if you really like what we're doing here, like I said before, give us a like and subscribe. Comment down below and say what you think, what you appreciate, and what you want more of. And today, we are joined by Antonio Williams. Welcome back to the show, Antonio.
Appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying this fellowship, and let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, just to get to work. So my thing is, after all of this rioting, protesting, looting, because it kind of became all of that through everything that's going on. And the main point, even with me being out there in LA and seeing all of the madness and things going on, and seeing the peaceful people out there really making a difference and trying to tell people not to tag and loot and setting things on fire, is what's next. You know, what's going to be the next step? Because we can easily do all of this, and 2 weeks from now, a month from now, it just disappears, and it was just something, an action that happened.
That's the problem.
Next? Yeah,
that's the problem.
Next, and what's going to be done?
Every time there's a case of police brutality, of racial injustice taken by the police department, year in, year out, including when you have private citizens such as George Zimmerman with what happened with Trayvon Martin, we, as the media and as a populace, go insane over it. We try and fuel all of our emotion into it. And it seems like every time that happens, we step back, we say, all right, it happened, we get fussed, we get upset, and we let it simmer for a while, and then we seem to just move on and normalize it. The issue I have with all of this is the same issue I have with school shootings. We have normalized school shootings to become a regular part of our culture. Did you know that before quarantine started, there was on average, a school shooting every month? That is disgusting, to think that there is a school shooting every month and that we just normalized that in society. And then on the converse, you have crimes against minority groups, whether it's against African Americans, Latinos, whatever it may be. You have crimes that have gone on for decades, and yet we still are treating that like it's a normalized portion of society. And until we address the fact that we've normalized it and created that as some type of regularized social construct, and that we've deemed it okay, because by doing it and by perpetuating it and by making it so normal, you're basically turning a blind eye and saying, yeah, that's okay, until the next person gets shot, gets killed, gets hurt, whatever it may be.
Exactly.
And then you freak out about it. With all due respect, 100% intended that you deserve to freak out and do something about it. We normalize it. We allow it to become a subject prevalent in today's culture, and we don't do dick about it. And that's the most disgusting and heinous part, is that while this is occurring and it shouldn't be occurring, we have allowed it to continue and perpetuate for years.
Yeah, and I just believe, Antonio, before you get at it, because, you know, we have to hear your take and I want to hear it. I just think that, you know, Black people, we should create some type of demands and say, we need these demands fulfilled. If not, you guys can see what can happen. We can let the youth roam and let them do what they do. But we have these demands and we need to see them put in law and see them happen, because we need change. Like, this has been going on for not even 400 years anymore, about 500 since 1619. Once, you know, the first slave touched foot here in America. And we just need to see this fixed, because this is not just an American problem. This is a worldwide, you know, problem for people of African descent. And we just have to get things to happen. And like, a lot of people are coming out saying the rioting and the looting is bad, but we learned it from our history. You saw what happened in Tulsa to Black Wall Street, and that's what we learned these things from. And the American Revolution was people looting and starting a revolution, and we're kind of just fed up and doing exactly that, and we're just trying to get something done. So we did the part of creating some mayhem. Now I think we need organization and structure so that we can put demands out, and the powers that be when it comes to Black people can say, hey, we need to get this done, or y'all already know what's going to happen. So what do you feel about it, Antonio? What you think the next step is after all of the madness that's going on?
I think, and you guys both have summed up this so eloquently and so well. And to piggyback on what you all are saying, I think one of the things that needs to happen too is, and I've had this conversation with Hines before, I've had this conversation with my wife, I've had this conversation with a lot of people. There is a thought process in this country that when you see people that look like us, Michael, and we are essentially appealing to a group of people to see us as human.
True.
Right? When that happens, sometimes what you're doing is actually feeding the superiority complex that they actually have, because they feel like they validate your humanity, and they feel like they are the board that determines who's human and who's not. And they don't have that power, they don't have that responsibility. And when we appeal to them, we give them that power and that responsibility.
Yeah.
And so because of that, and because of how we are set up from an infrastructure standpoint, it often leads to those thoughts of superiority, because the community aspect that we talk about, it often doesn't exist with us, because the community is more than just owning homes in a neighborhood or living in homes in a neighborhood. A community is also owning the institutions in said neighborhood. So oftentimes when you hear people discussing, saying, why are you tearing up your own neighborhood? The reality is, before the visceral reaction of the incidents that we've seen, that was not our neighborhood.
True.
Yeah.
Right? It belonged to other people, because their institutions and their businesses were in the places where we live. And then once they see that reaction to an event, now it becomes our neighborhood. And part of the reason why people, and I would do this, but part of the reason why people are doing some of the things that they do is because when you look at some of those institutions that they may have hit, because they don't own those institutions, when they went in to patronize those institutions, they were actually disrespected while they went in there, charged a higher price, looked at as if they were criminals, all of those different things. So in order to have a community, you need to have a level of autonomy as well. So you need to have some institutions that you own. And maybe you will feel more connected to that community when you own some of the things in there. So coming out of this, not only would I like to see people get behind institutions that were affected while people were rioting, as they should, there also needs to be a focus on helping people form their own businesses, and people that didn't think to form their own businesses before this happened. They need to have skin in the game as well. And so it's very easy. We see this all the time, right? Let's put it down to micro terms. We see people when they live in apartments and they put their deposit down. If they don't care about getting that, if they don't care about that deposit, they're liable to leave that apartment in whatever condition.
Yep.
And those same people, when they own a home, they're 180-degree opposite as they were when they lived in that apartment.
True.
They're like, wait a minute, I got to take care of this. Because they now have skin in the game from an ownership perspective.
100%. Whenever anyone has money in the game, they're 10 times more invested to pay attention, be aware, and be vigilant, and also take action. That's just a sad fact and a sad reality. That's why I was talking about with the Nike stuff, in particular Nike. Their athlete in their demographic base is mostly African American. So if you're telling me you're predominantly represented by an African American community, you're not willing to spend a couple of dollars out of your gigantic portfolio that you gain money from to put towards a cause that's bettering a social movement, that in and of itself is disgusting.
And it's sacrifice. I just feel that people can't be afraid to lose a little bit. If you're Nike, you're not going to lose anything. People are still going to buy Jordans and LeBrons and KDs, all these other shoes, no matter what you do. If you're a superstar player, you're a great player on the field. They're not. If Pat Mahomes comes out and fully engages into this entire movement, the Chiefs aren't going to cut this guy because he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
And if they do, I'll take him in New England.
You have to use it, man. But, man, Antonio, we thank you so much, man, just for joining us and having this conversation with us. I can't wait till sports returns. We need it back. I need sports. It back. I'm going crazy without it, and the world is going crazy without it, clearly, man. So we thank you for joining us here on Don't At Me with Michael and Alex. A couple new episodes, huh? We out here grinding, man. So they're going to be dropping soon. Shout out to Nick Hamilton. Of course, Antonio. I give them your social media tags one more time.
So anybody that wants to follow me, they can follow me at A.Williams Basketball. That's on IG and Facebook. Then on LinkedIn, it's just Antonio Williams. And if you see Antonio Williams, the Sports Connect, that's me. So appreciate you guys again for sharing the platform, willing to have honest conversations. And that's how we continue to build. And I'm enjoying every second of this fellowship with you guys for sure.
Yeah, and just from me and Alex here at Don't At Me, man, we just want to say that make sure that this fight doesn't stop. Continue to go out there, use your voices, use your platform to let the world know that this thing isn't okay. Racism, we need to try to kill it as best as we can, and it's going to take everyone coming together, whether you're white, black, brown, yellow, green. If you're an alien out there somewhere, we need to be together in this. That's the only way we can succeed. So Don't At Me with Mike and Alex, with our guy Antonio Williams. I know you're going to love the episode. Can't wait for you to check it out. We are out of this thing.
Like, subscribe, protest with masks on and gloves. Be safe, people.
Be safe.